next cab off the rank, the North Queensland Cowboys coach Todd Payten. Captains, Reuben Cotter and Tom Dearden, co-captains this year.
So is this your 17, or did you drag this from somewhere else?
That's mine.
Okay.
You can
I'll
choose
read
to
it
agree
out.
or disagree.
Yeah, absolutely.
The ones in bold are new players. The ones in
Underlined are questionable.
the ones in italics are a bit questionable.
Yep.
Finished fifth last year, which actually shocked me looking back on it. But they did. At one point they were in that first sort of 10 rounds, we were writing them off, but they had a really good back end of the year. They dropped the semi-final to the Sharks to finish off their draw. They play the top 11 times. They play top 4 7 times. They play the Broncos, Sharks, Dolphins, Titans, Seagulls, Storm, Panthers and Tigers twice. And they kick off with the Sharks, Broncos, Raiders and Panthers. Only 6 Sunday games all year. They generally get crowbarred along with the Titans into that sort of 5:30 Saturday or the Super Saturday setup there. Ins and outs. They've picked up John Bateman, Carl Lawton, Kay O'Donnell and Jackson Borlow. They've lost Kyle Felt, Funa Fuiaki, Jack Gozowski, Val Holmes, anyone else? Tanua Brown, and obviously Townsend's headed to the Chooks. Yeah, that's 17. You may have at it, and then you may take it away, Barn.
Yes, just on the draw. Obviously, I had him down as one of the easier draws, to be honest. A 1 5-day turnaround and 2 back-to-back away games in their thing. They've got 11 games against the top 8 out of 24. The first 5 weeks or so is going to be pretty tough for them. They've got some pretty tough matchups there, but then they go on an extended run for probably a third of the season where they only play a couple of top 4 teams, and the rest of it they should be able to nail some wins to their W column there. So this 17, we've got Drinkwater at 1, speaks for itself. Talangi at 2, Labert at 3, Valia at 4, Valame on the other wing, Dearden and Clifford in the halves, Hess, Robson at 9, McLean starting. I don't know if it'll be that way by the end of the year, but I'm not sure they've got a lot of other options. So.
Yeah, who else could you come up with? Griffin Neame or someone?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Bateman in at 11, which is an inspired signing realistically because Lukey's gone back down and looks like he's gone for the season again. So Nanai at 12, Cotter at 13, Lawton, Edwards, McIntyre and Neame as a bench round off. Seems pretty fair to me.
I got a question, and this is just something I've just not been keeping up with, but is Taumalolo out at the start of the year?
I think he had a suspension, doesn't he?
He had. That's a good point because he would have been there or thereabouts. I think he had either had surgery or suspension. He's missing something.
He was suspended, I'm pretty sure, in the ground.
And it's
oh no, it was an injury. Yeah, in the final for Tonga.
Yeah.
Yes.
He played with an injury, and
So
now it's
they're
extended
missing-
to a month or something on the side.
So they're missing Tamalolo. They've lost Lukey for the year, and Finifuiaki's gone.
Yes. Big loss, actually. I'm surprised they didn't fight a bit harder to keep him. So what have I got here? Well, you mentioned that they probably finished a little bit overachieved last year, and that was on the back of 4 blokes. One of them's left, but that was on the back of Nanai, Drinkwater, Dearden, and Val Holmes. There was a couple of games where Val Holmes won them games on his own bat, and same with Drinkwater.
And Jake Clifford coming in, they were in a rot when Townsend was there. So Clifford did help.
A little bit of a longer kicking game, yeah.
Made it less weak.
Got him into good positions. Dearden was massive for them last year. Well deserved with his higher reps games going through. He looks like Brisbane would be absolutely kicking themselves now. He was touted as their 7 forever, and they got rid of him after an average season as a kid, and now he's just
going to win the Dalian medal.
One of the best halves in the comp running around. Tough as teak, gets through what they need every single week. But as I mentioned, I think they overachieved, especially with with the injury that they did cop last year as well. They had blokes in and out of that team completely for the complete season. Depth of their back row is questionable, especially now with Lukey gone. Bateman fills a hole, but his attitude's been pretty piss poor realistically after he had that first year he came to Canberra and was brilliant.
Yeah.
And seems to have caused nothing but trouble ever since with with
Well, he
whatever
ended up-
team
yeah,
he's been with.
he
so-
aggravated to get out of there. Then he went to the Tigers, and he didn't play bad for the
No,
Tigers.
he
he
didn't
doesn't
play
miss
bad.
tackles. He gets into the scrap. He will not play bad football.
But there's games where he
But
loses
he-
his head,
yeah.
causes problems,
Yeah.
gives away penalties, and then there's a game or two where he just throws his toys out of the cot,
Yeah.
and you don't see him for half an hour as well.
He'll,
But
But for now on paper,
hopefully
it's something.
Yeah,
but
I love the mate. I love watching him play footy.
he's also a year older. He's also now got to live in. He's got to come to terms with playing in some 40-degree days.
He'll melt by
Here and
round
there.
5.
There'll be some
Yeah.
travel going on as well. Fucking yeah, I wouldn't want to be the Cowboys. The amount of travel those guys have to do. But anyway,
No, apparently Canberra's hard done by with travel.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, not the blokes in Townsville.
2-hour bus trip. Yeah, right. Okay. Who takes Val's spot? I think that's
That's
it's
why
now
it's-
a weak
well,
spot contention.
Yeah,
as well.
Laybutt,
around that.
Valamite. No,
I think Laybutt gets it myself. But,
he was very good. back
he
in
was
last
very
year.
good.
They've also lost Felt, who actually had a very, very good finish to the year. He was
killed
outstanding.
it. Absolutely killed it.
So there are some outside back concerns, and it always leads to restructures and
Yeah.
early season defensive errors or calls not going quite right.
Aging
So-
middle, which they haven't refreshed yet either.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
something they're really going to need to concentrate on over the next couple of seasons. Otherwise, they could fall off a cliff. Even with the 9-6-1 that they have, well, the 9's going next year as well. So there's going to have to be a refresh in that middle. But as I mentioned, they relied a lot on individuals for points last year, and they're going to need a hell of a lot more blokes rowing together in the right direction to be getting back to, even to get to where they got to last year. I've got them falling and I've got them slipping out of the 8.
I've got them 7th, and I think they're going to get carried by their spine. As you said, individual efforts, I think it's enough to get them back in the 8. As I've said, and I'm saying it's my pick, I'm saying Tom Dearden gets the Dally M medal. I think he has an absolute blinder of a season, and I think for probably around half their games next year, half their wins next year, he will be the reason. Drinkwater and Robson are solid too. I do also got to mention with Robson.
He's got half a foot out the door.
Well, yeah. If we can only really call things on what we've seen and on paper.
I don't
and
think
if you
he's that
take
type of guy, to
Robson,
be
No, in fairness, I don't either.
His attitude
But
doesn't
you
seem
you
like
watch the second Brandon Smith fit, and the second they can Roosters can offload him. I reckon he'll be getting a phone call.
straight swap, you reckon?
That's it.
No, but
that's the only. That's the
but
only way
it'll
that-
be they'll get him, and then there'll be a roster
I
spot.
think the
open up.
Cowboys would probably jump at him too.
I don't think he wants to go. Of course, I'll
Started
take
there,
him.
but
He doesn't. Want to get, I think he's on record as saying he won't go back. But
yeah, fair enough.
I think just
money
on
talks
that,
all languages.
I think Robson only goes to the Roosters early if Brandon Smith leaves, whether he goes to the Cowboys or wherever. I think that's the only way that happens. But it is also important to bring that up. But again, you can only go for what you're seeing, and what we've seen in Robson. It's just been class the last couple of years. So I think the story with the Cowboys is going to be, I've got them 7th. So I do have them slipping down a little bit, but they're going to be just absolutely carried by their spine, I think. And it's not to say they have a terrible forward pack or anything like that. It's just not up there anymore with the absolute tippy top of the comp. So I think they're going to sort of be the supporting role to the spine.
I've got him finishing 9th, by the way. I said slipping out, but only just into 9th.
I'm saying bottom 6.
Yeah, right.
I just think for all the reasons you've said, I think they'll drop games early because of that. Put it this way, they've lost
They
talent
could
all around
lose the
field,
first 5 games. Yeah.
and then they're gone. So their best forwards are all injured. They've picked up a 33-year-old back rower who his record on paper doesn't look great in the last couple of years, at least personality-wise. He might be a fantastic bloke. I'm sure he'd be fucking brilliant to have a beer with. They have a small bench, and their spine's very good. I think there's still question marks over Clifford, and I think Scott Drinkwater becomes an even more marked man. Like at some point, the tapes get done where don't fall for Dearden's dummy and rush Drinkwater, or don't give him broken space. So I think that all catches up, and I just don't know how to get out of that hole. If they drop 4 or 5, we said it last year. And Todd Payten's clearly a very, very good operator. I just don't have a great deal of optimism from what they've lost to what's going on. If they're fully fit, if all the 30 were fit, I reckon I'd be more in agreement with you. But we can only go on what we know to date and what the grapevine's saying. Yeah, any injuries and if they And actually, let's just say I'm going to bar any talk of injuries changing this or that for the rest of the
course.
because we can only preview what can preview. But I think I just have a bit of concern that they may have missed their shots they fired were very good for those couple of years, but I think they're not going any higher than that this year.
Just on the injury thing, there's probably only 3 or 4 teams that can cop one or 2 major injuries, and the rest of them, it's a standard thing across the board. You lose 1 or 2 of your best players, it's going to hurt a lot.
Anything else on the Cowboys?
No, not really.
Supercoach?
Drinkwater was their highest scorer with 1,888 points. He's going to cost you 770 to get you into the team with an average of 78.7.
Any interest?
I had him for the majority last year.
I've seen podcasters spruiking he's going to be worth 90 a game this year. I suggest podcasters might be wrong, but...
Yeah, no, I'd be surprised if he doesn't. I think you can pick him up probably 80k cheaper come round 6 or 7. So if you can get him at under 700 around, 6 or 7, that's when I'd be looking at him. Dearden, 598k to get him in, 1,343 points for the year, average of 61.
Tom Chester was the other loss. Sorry, just came to me. Carry on.
Nanai, 620k to get him in, 1329 points for the year, 63.3 was his average. So we had Drinkwater was the highest average. Burns was actually their second highest average with 71.5. Only played 4 games, but he'll cost you 560 to get him in there. So interesting. And Tuolagi was their third with an average of 61.8. Cost you 605k to get him in.
How did he average 61? He never did anything. Anyway.
He got fed a fair bit of walkover tries from Val Holmes out there on an edge.
But he doesn't. And that's another concern because Cole felt he'd whinge about getting smashed, but he'd roll his sleeves up and actually drag him out of trouble a lot. And I don't see he's going to do that in that. Braden Burns is one you mentioned, actually. Maybe he's in that discussion. But
Clifford averaged 63.3, 60.5 in his 6 games last year. 600k average. He's priced to his average, so I can't see him hitting that average, especially at the start of the year. Labert, 49.8, only played the 4 games, but I think he's a 55 to 60 point player, so there's a bit of interest there if he's starting. Apparently, Purdue's been training in the halves.
Yes, I did hear that.
So 257k, average of 26. If he's a starting half, you'd bump that up to 40 at least. So there's some money to be made if he starts there. Cohen Hess played bugger all games, average 33. I think that goes up.
What does this year?
If he's playing time.
He has to.
He's going to have to play some time. So you would imagine it goes up a little bit. This is maybe a bit of money to be made there. And Harrison Edwards only played an average of 36 minutes. I think he pushes up to maybe 50 this year. So at 318k might be worth a look.
Just on the last word here, and a completely random last word. Carl Lawton going up there, does he play... Is he just there to come off the bench until next year? Or is he...
14 cover for the 9.
Yeah.
He might not even get the 14 spot, to be honest. But
he'd play a bit of back row if needed.
If needed, yeah.
Yeah, I assume he's on the cards there in case they can't find another 9 in a year's time. Anything else?
No, I think we covered